Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. We are in the middle of the Leviathan raid guide. If you missed the guide for the Castellum and the pools, I recommend clicking over to that first, but this is the guide for the second encounter, the Pleasure Gardens. This encounter is pretty fun, but does require a lot of communication and a lot of patience. So without further ado, let's jump in and break this encounter down. Once you're done with the Royal Pools encounter, you can head back out to the Castellum and begin working on the second door, which is that of the War Beast in the back of the room. So that means you'll have to collect the Chalice Standard, the Sun Standard, and the Blades Standard. So again, you'll want to break up into two groups, 4 on defense and 2 getting the standards. If you want to learn exactly how to do this section, head on over to the first video I posted, which went over this in much more detail. When you open the door, you're greeted with another chest, but sadly it's only for Glimmer. Now, the second encounter for the raid is called Pleasure Gardens. The objective states survive the hunt, but essentially the objective of this encounter is to defeat 6 very specific roaming beasts that will appear once you start the encounter. So once you get inside the room, you will essentially want to clear all of the ads, and really I like this because they just serve as sort of ammo pinatas because you'll need a lot of power ammo to get through this successfully. And speaking of which, the best weapons for this instance are rocket launchers, shotguns, and linear fusion rifles. You're going to be getting very up close and personal to these beasts, so really anything that does a lot of damage. However, the one thing we came across was the fact that supers don't really do a whole lot of damage, so if you have a Night Stalker, a tether might be good, but aside from that, I would stick to your weapons. Anyways, once you clear the room, head on over to the very back, right above the safe room, where you will have 2 prisms that spawn. Picking these 2 up will begin the encounter, and the 6 beasts will enter the room. Think of these as 6 bosses. At this time, a safe room will open under the Calus statue, and inside the room will spawn 4 relics called spores. The objective is to empower these spores, which will allow you to do more damage to the beasts that are roaming around. You empower them at flowers which will activate around the room. Each flower will grant you a stack of 12 empowerment, assuming all 4 spore carriers are close by, so it's important for the 4 of you to stick together. The more flowers you can activate, the higher the multiplier, and the higher the multiplier, the more damage you'll be able to do to the beasts. So you want to collect as much empowerment before being seen or before the timer runs out for that rotation. Now, to gain the empowerment from the active flower, it needs to be burst by shooting a beam of light into it. This is done by the 2 prism holders up above. The challenge comes as the 6 beasts are roaming the pit, so you have to sneak past them and avoid being detected. If you are detected, the pollens will disappear from your hands and you will be capped at whatever multiplier you were able to achieve before being seen. So when detected, the beast will run to a specific location in the room and begin to howl. Then you have about 20 seconds to do as much damage to the beast as possible without killing them and make it back to the safe room. The safe room will then close and kill anyone trapped outside. Then the prism and pollen will respawn and you can go for another rotation. So let's go through this step by step. The 2 designated as prism holders grab their prisms, causing the pollens to spawn. The pollen holders grab them and await further instruction. As the prism holders up above, you must communicate which flowers are activated and navigate the pollen team towards that active flower, and since you have a better vantage point, you'll be able to navigate them around roaming beasts. There are 8 flowers total in the room that can activate. If we call the statue the front, we have the front left, the second left, back left, and mid left. At least that's what my team called them. And on the other side, we have front right, second right, back right, and mid right. Once you navigate a team to a active flower, the prism holder needs to get into a column of light, which charges the prism, allowing them to shoot the flower with a beam of light. Then the pollen holders will be granted a stack of pollen. Repeat this by navigating the team to the next active flower, and so on. We had 1 prism holder on each side of the room to maximize our visual coverage of what's going on. Also, shooting a flower will cause an orange bar cabal to appear on one of the upper doors. They will either drop down into the pit or start sniping from up above to a prism holder. When you see the Cabal, it's the Prism Holder's duty to take them out quickly. And for this, I just recommend shooting them with the Prism. They melt super quick and the beam doesn't have any damage fall off, so you can help and shoot the one across the map. Just be careful not to shoot a beast, because that will then begin the Howling phase. Ideally, your team should be able to gather 3 to 4 flowers, granting them a stack of 36 to 48 empowerment. The beast will eventually enter the Howling phase automatically, limiting how many flowers you can realistically get anyways. Again, gaining 36 to 48 stacks will allow your team to do enough damage to be able to finish the encounter in 2 rotations, maybe 3. Now, the key here is to get the beast down as low as possible without defeating them in the first couple rotations, and to kill them all at once in your final rotation. The reason for this is that the number of beasts that are remaining alive directly correlate to how much time you have to get flowers in each rotation. With all 6 beasts alive, you have plenty of time to gather 3 to 4 flowers. However, with each beast you kill, the beast will trigger the Howling phase much sooner, so you have less and less time for each rotation. Once you kill all 6 beasts, you are granted with another key and a loot chest. And that brings you to the end of the second encounter. Once you're done, you can head back to the Castellum and work on the 3rd door. Anyways, let us know in the comments below if you have any best practices, drop a like if you found this guide useful, and subscribe for much more Destiny 2 content. And I will see you all next time.